The truth is that, like, I think it will always rear its ugly head, and I have to literally be there to talk to that specific part of my brain that's still healing itself. Cause
what do you say?
Like, for me,
what is the process? Yeah.
I'll literally ask myself, is this the insecure you? Is this the trauma-infused 7-year-old you? Is this the trauma, you know what I mean? Like, I have to ask myself, like, which part of this is showing.
Kelly Rowland tears up as she confirms the worst rumors. Okay, y'all, this is not a drill. Kelly Rowland just confirms something that fans have been whispering about for years. And no, it's not just gossip, it's heartbreaking. For a long time, there's been talk about her being in Beyoncé's shadow, about an abusive relationship she kept quiet, and even this wild rumor that her son might actually be Jay-Z's. She's finally opening up, and hearing her talk about everything from the pain she went through to how long she had to stay silent, it hits differently. There's a moment where she breaks down in tears just trying to explain it all, and when you hear what she says, you start realizing this woman has been carrying a lot. So let's rewind real quick, because once you see how deep this really goes, you might not look at Kelly the same again.
My hands were shaking. I had tears in my eyes. I was like, what just happened?
Kelly Rowland was born in Atlanta, and her early life wasn't exactly easy. Her mom, Doris, ended things with Kelly's dad because of serious issues. After that, it was just Kelly and her mom. They packed up and moved to Houston, Texas, hoping for a fresh start. And that's where things changed. That's where Kelly met Beyoncé. The two got so close that Kelly actually moved in with the Knowles family, Tina Knowles. Beyoncé's mom basically raised her like a second daughter, and yeah, they weren't just friends at that point, they were family. Then came Girls' Timeline, the early version of Destiny's Child. They were just kids, but they were hungry. They even went on Star Search and lost. Got dropped by their label, it wasn't pretty. But Matthew Knowles stepped in as their manager and got them signed with Columbia Records. That's when it all took off. Destiny's Child became one of the biggest girl groups in the world, but let's be honest, most of the spotlight stayed on Beyoncé. Now I know some of y'all might say, well, Beyoncé was the lead, but imagine being part of a group where millions of people constantly remind you that you're number two, always second best, always standing just a little behind your best friend. That messes with you, especially when you're working just as hard. And while fans were comparing outfits and vocals, behind the scenes, Kelly was hiding some serious pain.
Beyoncé, who do you want to work with in the studio that you haven't worked with?
We actually want to work with Michael Jackson or Stevie Wonder or one of the wonderful legends.
In 2013, Kelly dropped a song that no one saw coming, Dirty Laundry. This wasn't just a breakup track, it was Kelly opening up about being in a toxic relationship. She never named the guy, but what she shared was enough. She said this man messed with her mentally, emotionally, and physically. He made her feel worthless. She stopped recognizing herself. Recording that song wasn't easy either. Kelly admitted she broke down in tears over and over. She couldn't even stay in the room when the label played it. That's how raw it was. And here's the part that really hit people. She talked about feeling jealous of Beyoncé, not out of hate, but out of pain. Her words were, "While my sister was on stage, killing it like a mother, I was enraged, feeling it like a mother." She said she was proud of Beyoncé, of course she was, but at the same time, she felt like she was drowning. Like her best friend was soaring and she was stuck. She wanted to be happy, but her own pain kept pulling her down. And that's real. She even said later that it took days to get through recording that one track. She kept breaking down, and when people finally heard it, it shook fans. People didn't realize she was going through all that behind the fame. But just when fans thought that was the biggest secret, the fans started zooming in on her son. Now this is where the fans really did its thing. For years now, some folks have had a theory that Kelly Rowland's son, Titan, might actually be Jay-Z's child. Sounds wild, right? But people online keep bringing it up, and not quietly either. Let's break it down. So, Kelly's son, Titan, has features that some fans say look a lot like Jay-Z's. People have even posted side-by-side photos of Titan and Blue Ivy, and yeah, in some of those pics, the resemblance is there. Same face shape, similar nose, even similar expressions.
What's up, man?
Now here's where it gets interesting. There was this moment at the Harder They Fall movie premiere. Jay-Z was there, and when he saw Kelly, at first it looked like he didn't recognize her, but then his whole vibe changed. His face lit up, big smile, hug her like they hadn't seen each other in forever. Now let's be clear, Kelly is married. Her husband, Tim Weatherspoon, is listed as Titan's father, and there are childhood photos of Tim that show a clear resemblance to Titan too. So yeah, there's a good chance this rumor is just fan fiction. But here's the thing. The rumor never fades away. It's been floating around for almost a decade, and anytime Titan is spotted in public or Kelly posts a pic, people bring it up again, which tells you there's something about this that keeps people talking. And here's where it gets messier, because this ain't the only Jay-Z baby rumor out there. Alright, so let's talk about something that makes the whole Titan situation even messier. Jay-Z has actually been accused before of hiding a child. Yeah, we're talking about Ramir Satterthwaite. Ramir's been claiming for years that Jay-Z is his biological father. According to Ramir's mother, Wanda, she and Jay-Z had a relationship back in the early 90s when Jay was still going by the name Rock. She said they met in Philly and that he even brought her to Brooklyn for a bit. Not long after that, she got pregnant. But here's where it gets complicated. Ramir's birth certificate listed a different man, Robert Graves, as his dad. But in 2011, Ramir took a DNA test that proved Robert wasn't the father. That's when things started heating up. Ramir and his godmother, Dr. Lily Colley, decided to take legal action. They were trying to get Jay-Z to take a paternity test, but according to them, Jay-Z kept dodging it, straight up avoiding it. They say he used his power and connections to keep the case from moving forward. And the legal stuff? It's wild. Ramir and Lily say the judges in New Jersey actually helped Jay-Z block the case. They claim those judges threw out valid evidence and delayed the case on purpose. At one point, they even said Jay-Z's legal team put illegal liens on their property, forcing them to pay money they didn't owe. They ended up losing over $100,000, 0 cents, just trying to fight for a DNA test. Now here's where things get even darker. Ramir's mom, Wanda, passed away before she could ever get a real answer, but she never backed down from her story. She always believed Jay-Z was the father. And Lily, Ramir's godmother, said something that still sticks. If Jay-Z ever did take a DNA test and it came back positive, that could damage his whole reputation. She believed that's why he stayed quiet. So when people talk about Kelly's son possibly being Jay-Z's, they're not just pulling that out of thin air. There's already a history of Jay-Z dodging paternity claims, and when the same rumors keep coming up over and over, it starts making you wonder. As Kelly's struggles weren't just about rumors. She lived through some real trauma too. Let's talk about something Kelly never really got to speak on, but it came out years later thanks to Beyoncé's dad. Matthew Knowles revealed that back in the early 2000s, when Destiny's Child was still young, both Beyoncé and Kelly were mistreated on tour. And y'all, they were just 16 at the time. According to Matthew, the guys from Jagged Edge, who were in their early 20s, were acting totally out of line on the tour bus. Matthew didn't go into full detail, but whatever it was, it made the girls feel so uncomfortable that they actually called him from the bus to report it. And here's the thing, these girls were teenagers, and they were already dealing with stuff like this in the middle of chasing their dreams. Matthew acted fast, he kicked the two Jagged Edge members off the tour completely, but after that, nobody really talked about it. Beyoncé never addressed it, Kelly didn't either. It was like the whole thing just got swept under the rug. So yeah, Kelly was out here smiling for the cameras, dancing on stage, doing interviews, and behind all that, she was dealing with grown men acting inappropriately and being silenced about it. And just when she thought she could catch a break, social media turned on her too. Kelly left a comment on Chris Brown's Instagram, just a simple love you type of thing after he broke a record. That's it. She was in Australia at the time, didn't even know what was going on back in the States, but when she woke up, it was chaos. People accused her of being a colorist, said she was supporting someone with a messed up history, especially because Chris had just released a song with some lyrics that hurt a lot of people the wrong way. But here's what what Kelly said. She didn't even know about the song. She didn't hear it. She was just congratulating someone she thought was making moves in music. But the damage was already done. The fans had already made up their minds. But things hit a whole new level of embarrassment when scammers used her name for money.
So all that time, I'm protecting myself. You know what I mean? But in all the time that I'm protecting myself, I'm also going through the most tumultuous relationships, choosing the wrongest dudes to be around.
So one of the most personal chapters in Kelly's life is her relationship with her dad. She didn't see him for 30 years. That's 3 whole decades of silence. And growing up, she felt abandoned, like he had walked away and never looked back. That kind of hurt sticks with you. But after becoming a mom herself, something shifted. She started thinking about what it means to forgive, and she actually wanted to reconnect. What's even more surprising? Jay-Z apparently encouraged her to reach out. Yeah, he gave her the push she needed to face that part of her past, so she did. And when she finally met her dad again, Kelly said it was emotional. They talked for hours. She said the anger just melted, like it wasn't even about blame anymore. She was ready to let it go. That's real healing, and it wasn't for the cameras. It wasn't a PR move. This was something she did for herself, for her peace, and for her son, to break the cycle. And maybe that's the point of all this. Kelly's not just spilling the tea, she's healing out loud. But now, it's your turn. Do you think that rumor about Jay-Z and Titan is real? Or is it just internet madness that got out of hand? And what do you think about Kelly finally speaking her truth after all these years? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you feel like Kelly's finally getting the respect she deserves, hit that like button and subscribe for more.